Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Bollocks Part 69. Second to last Talking Bollocks ever. It is quite late today. It's 9 minutes to 7 on Monday, June the 8th. Been out social distancing with a friend, so I'm sorry it's later than normal today. There's been a lot going on, hasn't there, over the last sort of few weeks. And I was just thinking today about the statue that was pulled down yesterday and how horrified some people are by a statue being pulled down. But the thing is, history is being made, and I think whenever history is made, it's quite painful, it's quite difficult. It does divide, and let's not pretend that having different opinions doesn't divide us anyway, because it does. But I don't think it's good to be stuck in the camp of thinking that it's not okay to be divided either. Yeah, we should all come together, it should all be lovely, and everybody should be a lovely human being. But this is not the reality of life, is it? I'm really happy that a statue got pulled down. This is a white slave trader who was responsible for dumping human beings, including children, probably sometimes alive. If you've ever wanted to learn more about the slave trade, there are loads of books out there. But years and years ago, I was actually away with my ex-husband in Preston, and we decided to go to the cinema. And so we decided to see a film called L'Amistad. I probably haven't said that very well, and I apologise for that because I'm not very good at French accents. Anyway, it's about a transatlantic slave trade ship, and I've never come out of a film feeling so dark and so depressed as we did that evening. We thought we were going to go to the cinema, and I don't know what we thought, actually. I don't know why. Did we go and see that? I don't think we meant to go and see that film. I think we accidentally saw that film because we were too late to see another one or something. It wasn't my pleasure to go and see that film. It's not something that's enjoyable. It's harrowing film to watch. I haven't watched it since, and I probably won't watch it again. But all I could think about, in the ship, they're manacled underneath. If they get sick, they're thrown overboard, but they're also thrown overboard and they're not dead. They're alive in the middle of the Atlantic. And I know this was some time ago, but history, in some respects, is still being learned, because we whitewashed history and we took women out of history and we took all of these different things out of history. It's important to understand that the world that you live in the UK, is built on colonialism, on empire, on pillaging and raping and chemical warfare and racism and profiteering from slave trading. This is not a country that was built on the magnificent patriotic bullshit that they tried to feed you off about the World War II. World War II and all the world wars have been sending people to die to make money. Yeah, it was to fight anti-fascists, but don't forget, every war also is about selling arms and armaments. So I think actually what a lot of people are upset about is they're for the first time learning about what actual British history is, and it doesn't sit right, does it? Because it's not right. It never was right. It was never going to be right, but we do need to learn about it, and we do need to understand about how systemic racism infects and becomes the norm without us even knowing it. When you learn more about how different systems are used to oppress and hold down and hold back different races, then it's quite something. And, you say, it doesn't affect me now. But the amount of people that I've heard, all lives matter. And I was like, well, yeah, they do. I do believe all human life matters. At the same time, we're not talking about privilege is a finite amount of cake. We don't eat this cake and, somebody has this little bit of privilege here and that leaves less privilege. It doesn't work like that. Privilege is it's a thought rather than actual cake and pie. it's something that we have held on to and carry through. And I think it's really, really fucking important to deal with that, and to deal with the fact that I feel uncomfortable right now feeling white. That doesn't mean that I feel less for the other people by any means. In fact, I think it makes me feel like I want to educate myself better, learn more, and learn about what kind of country that I've been brought up in. Because it's great in a way to be patriotic, but be patriotic for the things that actually fucking matter. Be patriotic for things that make us human, not for the things that dehumanize us. So it's that great meme cartoon that I've seen going around, which is like there's a house on fire and there's another house on fire, and the fire engines have gone to the house on fire. And then someone comes along and goes, but what about my house? And the fire engines go, well, your house isn't on fire right now. And the person goes, yeah, but what if my house was on fire? And they're like, yeah, but it's not on fire. And if it is on fire, when it is on fire, if it becomes on fire, we're coming and help that house out. But your house isn't on fire right now. This house is. And I think it's so interesting listening to the different stories. And it's like, just stop and try and imagine what it's like for these mothers whose black children are leaving the house and never coming home. And they're never coming in the home because they've been racial profiled because they're black. They've been shot because they're black. There may be all of these reasons that you want to put in there, but it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's what you're telling. And I understand that we should all come together and be one love that has been sung about, but things have to be broken before they're restored. And things have to be broken across the board. And that includes being a white person and taking responsibility for our own uncomfortable privilege. Personally, topple all the fucking statues. On Facebook, there's a wonderful map going around of all the historical statues that are actually based on people that did fucking awful things. Fucking remove them all. Let's have some nice statues. Let's have some statues of people that have actually tried to be decent human beings in the world, rather than racist, slave traders, eugenics, chemical warfare, warmongers, people that have killed and maimed and profited from war, and this is kind of like a war. This is a surreptitious, sneaky war that is making us uncomfortable because some of us are only just hearing about it. But it doesn't mean that you don't matter. Of course you do. Like, I think every human has its own place and its own space in this world. But when you give yourself a chance that gives space to other people, you might be surprised by what you actually learn. If you sit there and go, yeah, but all lives matter and we all bleed the same. Yeah, we do all bleed the same, but more people are bleeding of different colours right now, not you. So let's understand that. And yes, we all have the same skeletons inside, but again, it's like the blood thing. Well, you have to see colour to understand colour. And, the people of POC, people of colour, have not been listened to, not been seen, not been racial profiled. And I think we can move on. I think we can do much fucking better. But don't think that quiet protest is where they got to. If you're working class and you're British, suffragettes got your vote for you. If you were a working class man under a certain age, and I haven't looked up the history, and I'm sure someone will correct me at some point, but the suffragettes, they tied themselves to railings. They were often middle class women that spoke, but it was also lots of different women. They tied themselves to low railings. They went on a 100 strike. They went in front of the King's Horse at the races, which was a big fucking deal at the time. They rioted. There was protests. Don't think that they quietly had a few talks and got in. It wasn't. They rioted, they protested, and sometimes this was violent and aggressive. And I'm not saying that I completely agree with that, but I'm also saying that everything, like your fucking vote, your right to vote in the UK was given to you, was fought for by women over 100 years ago. And it's interesting that some of you are saying, well, let's do it peacefully. It hasn't worked. They've tried. They've constantly tried. When Selma happened, if you don't know about Selma, go look it up. They peacefully protested, and still they were murdered and assaulted and treated badly, like incarcerated. So it's important to understand that there is history, but don't think that the suffragettes just sort of gently did a few sort of things. They didn't. They were tough fucking ass women. And actually, by the by, if you also look up suffragitso, that's pretty fucking cool as well. It's a martial art that was based on baritsu that the suffragettes learned in order to actually protect themselves whilst protesting and rioting. They put through windows, they caused havoc. And they caused havoc because that was the only thing that could be listened to at the time. And that's where it brings us to every time in history when people aren't listened to, when they're marginalised, this is what they have to do. And I agree with them. Fuck that shit. Coulson is now... Is it Coulson? Is now swimming with the fishes. And that's exactly where his statue should be. And they should remove all the fucking statues that are to do with slave traders. You know, there's a statue in America that actually the man that they've put the statue up... And again, I should have looked this up. He actually experimented on women. And there's a fucking statue about him. I mean, what the fuck? What is that about? Why is that allowed? That is not alright. Anyway, hope you're all doing okay. I've been out social distancing today, having a visit with my best mate, so that's why I am a lot later. We had a good old chat and a good old catch up, which was very, very nice. And I've got to say, tomorrow, I don't know where I'm going to do Talking Bollocks. I feel like it should be somewhere else, but it honestly depends on the weather. So today is my second to last Talking Bollocks. Tomorrow will be the last one. And again, I just want to say thank you for listening, tuning in. I hope that my bollocks has been... my bollocks, huh? I hope that my bollocks has been somewhat entertaining or infuriating. I don't know. It's been whatever it is to you, isn't it? That's it for today. I'm going to go and eat my dinner because I'm quite hungry. And I hope you are all okay. And you're doing all right. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow for the last Talking Bollocks.